Next, I would like to talk about business areas. When we were creating job streams, you noticed that there was a panel on the left with a tree of folders and that we were placing job streams into those folders as we were creating them. So let me talk a little bit more about how business areas are used in AAI and their importance. So first of all, this is a tree structure of folders that is created by the customer. So this is all created according to the terminology and organization that a customer has. So this tree of business areas basically reflects the business. And this is not a hard concept. So these are nested folders and you can nest them deeper than what I have on the screen. But it's a very important concept in the product because these business areas are used for filtering and also for organizing job streams and information so that it's easy to find and get to information that somebody needs to get to. Notice that there are different types of labels here to organize things better. So we have by application. So this is something I see with customers quite a bit, where an application name would be used as a business area, and then we would have job streams related to the business area placed into it. There could be organization by department, by region, by scheduler type. So there could be by shift, for instance, is another thing I see. So this is essentially really custom structure that would be created to reflect the business. One other point about business areas is that they are meant to be very good descriptions of the area, of the business area, so that non-technical staff can find the applications and processes that they are interested in. So this is meant to be part of the self-service capability in AAI, but in order to get there, we need to have good terminology that doesn't use scheduling specific terms and is appropriate for non-technical staff. One other capability that you can achieve with this structure of business areas is that you can roll up different areas to a somewhat artificial business area. So let's say if we have a VP of operations who oversees 3 different business areas, we can create a label, business area, for that particular umbrella, if you will. And then we essentially have a placeholder for grouping everything inside of that business area. So that applies to running reports, for instance. If you need to grab information from those 3 business areas that roll up to the temporary business area, that is possible to do, and that's one use case for creating such a business area. One other thing I would point out here is that you can actually drag and drop job streams from one business area to another. And also under admin, you can or actually here in the definition of a job stream, you can assign a single job stream to multiple business areas. So in this case, we are looking at a job stream that's currently in asset wealth. And just to illustrate that capability, I'm going to mark markets as well. So this job stream will now reside in two different business areas. And if I save that, we will see that now we have that same job stream in multiple business areas. We are not creating a copy of that job stream. We are just simply we are assigning that job stream to multiple business areas. And there could be different reasons for doing that. That might be an application that spans two different areas of the business. And let's say for reporting purposes, you might need to run reports for two different managers of those areas. I'm going to unmark markets here to remove it from that particular business area, and I'm going to cancel out. So how do you use business areas to group things? So I'm going to switch to monitoring to just illustrate the power of these business areas. So I have a couple of tabs at the top. One of them is essentially showing us all running job streams in all business areas. If I open up the definition of this filter under business area, I can choose which business area is applied as a filter here. So instead of basically showing all running job streams, so these are all instances of job streams that are currently executing, I'm going to limit this view just to AutoSys, because that's really what we are talking about. So if I save this, my list gets smaller, and I only see the runs that belong essentially to the AutoSys business area. So that's an obvious use of the business areas, and this concept applies throughout the product. It can be used in reports, it could be used in different views, and as I go through different features of the product, I will keep pointing out where the business areas apply and how it can be used to simplify your work. While we are on the monitoring tab, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about how to use this part of the platform. So once you create job streams in AAI, the next logical thing is to create views that will be used for monitoring. And that's exactly what the monitoring tab allows you to do. So we can see these different tabs at the top, and really the end result that we are looking for here is to create as many of these as you need for doing your job, and basically organize them well so that you have all the information that you need and none of the information that's irrelevant. When you click on the header line, right click I should say, you are presented with a menu of all the columns that could be included here. I'm going to click on the business area column because just to solidify the business area concepts. So you can see that this particular job stream is assigned to multiple business areas. So this is a convenience to know where this particular job stream belongs. But you will also have situations where it is a one-to-one assignment and you won't see job streams in multiple business areas. The other thing to point out is that this is a highly configurable view so you can move these columns around. And the end game here is having comfortable set of filters that capture all the information that's necessary for doing your job. Notice in the lower left, we have a view that presents alerts. So this is a place that presents alerts visually. We have talked about possible integrations for alerts and distribution mechanisms for them. But if you need to see alerts visually in the product, this is where you would come to see that. There are also configuration settings to restrict which alerts you are looking at. So for instance, if you choose the first option here, which I often use, alerts for a selected job stream run only, that will filter this list to only the alerts that apply to the selected job stream. So that's a useful filtering feature so that you're not looking at a full list of alerts without really knowing what the context is for them. So I use this regularly just to filter down that list and have the list show me just the alerts that apply to the job stream that I have selected in the upper panel. And one other thing to mention here is that these tabs are essentially owned by the user ID that's logged into AAI. So these filters are mine, and if I log out of this session and log back in later on, these filters will be preserved under my user ID, and they will come back in my next session when I log back in. So the next question is, how do you create templates for different teams that need a specific set of filters, and how do you prepare those and propagate them across all team members so that they have something to work with when they are starting out with the product? So in implementation, typically what we do is we create a template for these filters. We set them out the way they need to look for a particular application or team. And then we use the command line interface on the back end of AAI, and we propagate these filters to accounts of team members that need them. So that's a quick way of providing these filters in AAI and essentially making them available for everybody on the team. And that's a best practice type of suggestion to pre-populate visual components like filters so that brand new users of AAI have something to work with when they are starting out with the product.